Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to the Solent Sports News Centre on this Friday afternoon. I'm Henry Deacon and here are the latest headlines. In football, Southampton have been discussing with Liverpool ahead of preparations for their repeat of the FA Cup semi-final against Leicester tonight. The Merseyside club have reportedly been unhappy with on-loan star Takumi Minamino's game time, with the Japanese winger last featuring for the Saints in mid-March. To our exclusive feature interview now, as Step 6 United Services Portsmouth are 2 wins away from a trip to Wembley Stadium. The Wessex League First Division side are in the quarter-finals of the FA Vase, with that Wembley arch now in full view. Having won just one FA Vase fixture in 16 years, they've won 6 this season and are having the best run in their history. Earlier on this afternoon, I spoke to their manager Glenn Turnbull ahead of tomorrow's clash with Flackwell Heath.
So, Glenn, looking ahead to tomorrow's big FA Vase game for yourself, a massive opportunity for a club like yourself to get through to the semi-finals of a national competition.
Yeah, as a Step 6 club, they don't come around very often. So we got a home draw and we've got a good record against teams from the league above. So we couldn't ask for anything more, really. It's all in our hands.
Flackwell Heath, the opponents. How much have you been able to look into them recently?
We've been really lucky this week. As soon as the result came through, we were still all dancing on the pitch, and I was saying, "Oh, it's Plymouth Parkway, it's Plymouth Parkway." And they said, "No, Flackwell Heath have beaten them." So, oh no. So the non-league rep at the game said, "Oh, did you have scouts there watching the game?" Said, "I think you've underestimated the size of US Pompey. We haven't got enough to come get someone to help me wash the kit here, let alone have a scout." So, but then the football community's rallied round. I think I had 2 match reports sent to me from the Lancing game and 1 from the Plymouth game by the end of Sunday night.
Describe those scenes against Tavistock last week, the full-time whistle. I saw your tweets at the end of it. It was a very messy night.
The Tavistock one was messy. The Christchurch was a little bit messier, but Tavistock was it was just a great experience. So we had I think we were far more comfortable against Tavistock than we were against Christchurch. So at the end of the game, it was really good. The lads, that sort of thing, they're brilliant at it. The coach journey home was, as good as you can have that, but it's another experience that the lads can look back of and use as motivation, hopefully, to get 2 more results.
I suppose it's a bit of a change in mentality now. I think even at the last 16 stage, the latter end of the competition still feels a little while away. There's now only 8 teams left in the competition. And I am going to mention the W word now, because I imagine
that last night at training, it was banned, but I'll let you off so you can have
But I know a lot of people at this stage of the competition do talk about it. But I suppose for a club like you want an absolute free one. You can take it one game at a time.
Well, the cliches will roll off the tongue now as anything. So it is one game at a time. Wembley's brilliant, but if we lose tomorrow or if we're lucky enough to win tomorrow and get into the semi-final and fall short, Wembley's just somewhere we go when we buy a cup final ticket.
Well, look, Glenn, thank you very much for sparing the time to talk to us ahead of a big game tomorrow. Really do appreciate that. And of course, everyone here is wishing you all the best and hopefully you get yourself into the semi-finals.
Thanks, mate. Take care.
Former EC centre-back and fan favourite Rob Atkinson has marked his first full season in the Football League, replacing the League One team of the season. The Vanarama Van Dykes, starring role in Oxford United's defence, has recovered the side to a playoff fight after finding themselves as low as 18th in the League One table. The best 11 also featured Peterborough striker Johnson Clark-Harris, who scored 29 goals on the way to being named League One Player of the Year.
I've never done anything like this, and not only to get in the team of the season's good, but I'm very happy with by the start of the season where I missed a few games full of injury, how well I've coped with my body and getting through 90 minutes game after game, Tuesday, Saturday. So I'm really happy about that.
The Scottish FA are today investigating an alleged instance of abuse aimed at Albion Rovers player David Cox. The 32-year-old retired at half-time of a fixture against Stenhousemuir yesterday after comments were made regarding his mental health. Cox has been outspoken about his attempts to end his own life and said Stenhousemuir's Jonathan Tiffany said that you should have done it right the first time. The government has announced that a fan-led review of football governance, ownership and finances will be fast-forwarded. It comes after 6 Premier League clubs cancelled their plans to join the European Super League. The review will explore the possibility of fan intervention within clubs. Isaac Farnworth has the story.
It was a watershed moment as football fans across the country proved they still have the power to influence decisions in their club. Fans of the English Big Six marched on their stadiums to protest against the proposed European Super League. The message was so strong that it led to an announcement by all 6 clubs that they would be withdrawing from the competition less than 24 hours after joining it. The fallout has been so significant that it led to the government fast-forwarding a fan-led review into English football.
So today, I have been left with no choice but to formally trigger the launch of our fan-led review of football.
The review will look into the possibility of introducing a 50+1 rule to ownership, similar to the one in Germany. Stuart Purvis, who is the Supporters Trust representative on the board of Brentford FC, said that although it could work, introducing it would be a challenge.
I think in Germany that you always had to have kind of a version of fan ownership, and therefore clubs were organised professionally along those lines. I think in Britain, because it's such a sort of it's happened spasmodically and in kind of odd situations, there isn't the kind of heritage of how it can be done. But I think, if it works in Germany, which is, one of the biggest leagues, if not arguably the biggest leagues in Europe, why can't it work elsewhere?
The 50+1 rule was introduced into the Bundesliga in 1998 and ensured that the club's members retain overall control by way of owning 50% of shares plus 1 share. It means that no one owner can control the club, and clubs are protected from the influence of external investors. Despite the push by some, not all agree with it. Niall Cooper, who is part of the Dons Trust that own AFC Wimbledon, said that review of the whole football governance needs to be held.
The best chance of that happening would be if football government sorted itself out and said, right, you actually can't run clubs on permanent debt basis that, are losing money hand over foot. At the moment, an owner of a football club can be an arms dealer, could have committed serious human rights abuses overseas, and that's fine. At the moment, there's nothing to stop them doing that.
A group called Save Our Beautiful Game, led by Salford owner Gary Neville and ex-FA chairman David Bernstein, has also called for a new independent regulator to govern football. However, BBC journalist and author of The Price of Football, Kieran Maguire, said football will never learn its lesson despite the fallout from the European Super League.
Yeah, football clubs in crises is a bit like New Year's resolutions. You start off with very good intentions, and we've learnt our lessons, and we improve. And a couple of weeks later, you're walking past a KFC and you dive in for a bargain bucket. It's that type. Football has never learnt a thing from all of the crises that it's been through financially.
Despite the fans and the government trying to push and change football ownership structure and fan representation, it will probably fall apart, much like the European Super League.
In rugby news, Wigan Warriors has suspended prop Tony Clubb while they hold an investigation into alleged racist comments made during their win against Hull FC. Equality matters, and Wigan and Hull FC are united in this message, a joint statement read. The news comes the same day that football begins its social media boycott to try and combat online abuse. Staying with rugby, and the Champions and Challenge Cup finals are coming to Twickenham. The finals of both European rugby competitions were due to take place in Marseille but have been moved due to the pandemic. The finals will take place at an unconfirmed date in May in front of 10,000 spectators. The Diving World Cup gets underway in Tokyo tomorrow as athletes will compete for a chance to represent their country at the Olympic Games. Matt Dixon, the current British diving champion, will be competing in the 10-metre platform as he looks to take the second and final place alongside Tom Daly. Our reporter Jack Finney has the full story.
A competition which could literally be career-defining.
Oh, great start from Dixon.
The Diving World Cup in Tokyo represents the final chance for the hottest talent from across the world to qualify for this summer's Olympic Games. 21-year-old Matt Dixon is one of Team GB's hopefuls going into this event, and although he'll be up against fellow teammate Noah Williams in the 10-metre platform next week, there remains an eagerness to constantly be bettering one another in training.
I think everyone's training like their hardest. The atmosphere is to stay positive again. And I kind of get everyone in like a fighting spirit, kind of like, come on guys, like we got this no matter what. Like I'm training with the same guy who's going to compete against me at the World Cup, and it's either me or him going to Olympics.
The longer competition format also brings its downfalls to those competing. Although only 6 dives need to be completed, due to every participating nation bringing up to 2 athletes each, the process can take far longer, which adds to the mounting pressure.
You have 6 dives. That's all you need to do. 6 dives. But it could take you up to 4.5 hours in a competition. So you've done 1 dive every 40 minutes. That means you've got to stay warm. That means you've got to stay focused. That means you've got to stay energized. You've got to eat. You've got to drink. You've got to stay hydrated.
With the Summer Games now tantalisingly close, Julian Bellon, Head of Development at Team GB Diving, believes it is testament to the country's recruitment system as a whole that divers such as Matt Dixon are competing at such an elite level at such a young age.
We're incredibly pleased with the progress, not only Matt and Noah, and they come right at the top of the pecking order in terms of notoriety, I guess, and it was give and take between the two. The number of internationals that we went away with those 2 guys, and there was just a handful of points between them, and it seems that has been their careers to date.
One thing is for sure though, next week, for many of these divers, this could be their springboard to success.
Apologies, that was the voice of Jack Mirkovic instead of Jack Finney. To one name that definitely cannot be forgotten, and that's the former England captain Alistair Cook, as he hit his 25th first-class century for Essex as they take on Worcestershire in the county championship. He was eventually bowled out for 112, his side now at 390 for 3 in the second session of their second day. A full schedule of games across the country are now underway after rain had disrupted morning sessions, with Somerset and Middlesex still unable to get going. In the snooker, Kyron Wilson restarts his second session against Sean Murphy in the semi-finals of the World Championships. Wilson won the first frame of the session to extend his lead to 7-2 against the former world champion. Earlier on this morning, Mark Selby and Stuart Bingham shared their session, level at 8-all ahead of tonight's third session.
Snatched it on the black and go to the mid-session interval now with a nice 2-frame lead. How about this for a shot? Bringing 2 reds into play.
Good pot that. To the darts, where fans will return next month. Spectators will be present at the Premier League finals. 4 nights of fixtures between May 24th and 28th will take place in front of 1,000 fans at the Marshall Arena in Milton Keynes. It's the first UK event with spectators since the 2020 UK Open. Well, that is all from us for now. A reminder, Solent Sports News will be joining the community of sport in a social media boycott. So for the latest stories, please visit our website, solentjournalism.co.uk. But that is all from us here at the Solent Sports News Centre. Enjoy your extended bank holiday weekend, whether that's down your local or with the family. Take care, and until next time, thank you very much for watching. Bye bye for now.